All right. So on this special edition of Empowering Her, we're going with three of us instead of two of us. So we're going a little bit different. So um, we have met the wonderful Z, and now we're going to our wonderful Simona. So, Simone, I hear that you just got done traveling. Tell us where you were at and what you were doing.
So normally I'm based in Amsterdam,
Mhm.
so that's where I sort of like live. I just traveled to Barcelona in Spain because there was one of I think Mobile World Congress is one of the largest events worldwide. It's an event where a lot of innovation is happening. And I got to speak on two different occasions. So I was on stage for two times, and I
Okay.
lived in Barcelona. So for me, it's like sort of like my second home base, and it's nice to meet a lot of people I know over there.
Well, and I thought it was funny because I made the comment when we were talking about this. I was like, I feel like everybody in Europe and everywhere else besides Americas, they travel all the time. They just go to all these countries, and as you pointed out, that many of our states are the size of countries. So it's. But I think what's really fascinating though is every one of those countries has a completely different culture, as opposed to like if I go to say Texas or Kansas or Oklahoma, it's I mean, you have some little differences, but it's about the same,
Hmm.
as opposed to like being in Europe or Asia or one of the other continents where you could drive an hour and all of a sudden it's completely different, which is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it has its pros and its cons. Because I think the pros are it's like really rich, right? So indeed, you can travel, you can drive for 2 hours, and you're leaving Holland and you're entering Germany. Uh, but then you also have like different language, different payment system. Everything is different, so that's also sometimes pretty annoying.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It has good sides and bad sides.
Zineb, did you go?
No, not this year. I think ever since I moved here, or at least for the past 10 years, I've been going every single year.
Yeah.
But for the past, I think they didn't have it last year, and then the year before. No, they did last year, but under a different format. It wasn't as exciting
Mhm.
because of all the restrictions and all that. But this year I wasn't able to go.
Okay.
But I make a point to go there because it's great. It's a great 3-4 days where you get to meet entrepreneurs from all over the world,
That's cool.
working on all sorts of exciting stuff. You never know what it could, you might learn something new. You might build a new relationship, future clients, maybe, all sorts of, fundraising also. You never know. So,
It's called serendipity, right?
yeah, exactly.
So, Simone, my understanding is you were presenting on stage. So, like, I think this is fantastic because in the tech industry, we've kind of discussed, and that Zineb and I did, where women tend to be very, very underrepresented in these career paths, and the fact that you are up there speaking is kind of a testament how you have paved your own path to success. So, kind of give us a background of kind of your story and why you were up there presenting.
Yeah, I think I have an interesting story, and there's also a reason why I'm very passionate to share my story, especially to younger girls, but also I'm passionate about sharing my story to younger boys
Yeah.
because I want to see that I want younger boys also to see that that it's normal that there are really kick-ass women out there, right?
Yeah.
Um, so no, when I grew up, I have an older brother, and my brother was supposed to be the wise guy or the smart guy in the family, and I was like just the girl and take it easy. So that was how I was raised. While I was like, I want to reach the highest level, and that they said to me, just take it easy. So I didn't. I just I challenged myself. I said I want to study mathematics, and everybody told me I couldn't. So that was an extra stimulus to really go for it. It was not easy. I'm not like how do you say that? All those wonder kids or wonder. how do you say that? Where it comes naturally. I had to work hard, but it also gave me a lot of the reason why I achieve a lot today is because I learned to work hard and to go for it. So and a study like mathematics, everybody told me, asked me, do you want to become a teacher or whatever? And I was like, that I have no idea. I just like it, so I just want to go for that. And what it has taught me is never to be afraid of difficult situations. So when something complex comes to you, just try one thing. If it's not going to work, try the next and the next and the next, and you will find a solution, which comes very handy in the things that I do today. Because after I graduated, I went into corporate life. I have 20 years of corporate experience. But the rebel in me became too strong. So I quit my career and I founded my own company, which is called Rebella. It's Rebel and Bella. And what I do today is I support large organizations with innovation.
Okay.
And innovation is super vague because it's the buzzword of the day. But that gives me a lot of, how do you say that, freedom to provide the services or the insights that a specific company needs. So, for instance, I work for Chanel, which is like a luxury brand. There, they have a lot of focus on the human side, and there I bring in much more the tech side of things. How can you apply artificial intelligence or other kind of technologies? And on the other hand, I also work for civil engineering companies. So here in Holland, where they build roads and dikes and bridges and stuff like that. They tend to have a real focus on technology. So there I say, but hey, it's like humans are in this company. So we also have a human side to innovation. And there I push more on the human side. Okay. So that's a little bit that.
All right. So this is a ton of cool stuff going on here. So to kind of give like my students, anybody else that will be watching this, a better understanding of kind of like your day to day and kind of your company, what are the problems that your company solves?
So I demystify innovation because companies call me and they say, hey, we need to innovate. Whatever that means. So the first thing I do is like, okay, but what shall we do? And I have different kind of viewpoints. So I can bring in the human side. Mm-hmm. So for this civil engineering company, I really try to reach out to the people who work in the company and listen to their ideas. Mm-hmm. So that gives them a lot of feeling of being respected, feeling of being heard. And still there's also like the hard side of what kind of ideas can we work on. So that's more the human side. For Chanel, for instance, I have been working on an assignment to how can we apply artificial intelligence and what can we do with it. So the IT guys there, I support some IT guys, and they are dealing with a lot of, how do you say that, service calls. So people in the boutique who have technical problems, they call immediately, the cashier is not working or stuff like that. And then they have loads of calls, and how can you make sense of that? And how can you, for instance, use artificial intelligence to make more sense of all these calls that come from the boutique? So maybe that gives a little bit of a feel of what I do. It's sometimes hard to explain.
Yeah. So you basically you help improve processes. You kind of find where kind of where that the company needs to take their target market to, and kind of create that step-by-step process for improvement.
Yeah, but the real thing that I do is that I actually discover and unleash their rebel talent.
Okay.
Because so what my company name is called Rebella.
Right.
Because it refers to rebel, and it's not because I like the name, it's because I am a rebel myself. And what I see is there's a lot of people in organizations that have great ideas, but somehow they don't have landing spots.
Hmm.
And then those people get really frustrated,
Right.
and either they leave or they become silent. And I think the latter is even more dangerous. Or so what I try also to do is to help companies to say, hey, here are your real talents. They have really great ideas. They might be a bit crazy, but I think those are the people who are super valuable for your company, and you should listen more to them.
Well, and I think sometimes, the craziest ideas are the greatest ones, but I think you have people that are visionaries. They're just not quite sure how to get that vision it to fruition or to make it happen. And so, it takes, professionals like yourself to go, this is a good vision. Here's how we can like get this going for you. How did you two become friends? This has got to be a good story.
Zineb, it's you. Maybe you can start the conversation this, and
Yeah,
then I can add.
yeah. No, I've been following. I cannot remember where I first saw you because I don't think I think I've met you once when you were in Welling at
Yeah,
an event. But yeah, I've been following Simone for many years now.
yeah,
Many years, so I knew she was, she was innovation. She, she inspired me as a woman, with everything that she's doing and the way she was doing it. And I think I saw you talk at a few times. So super
yeah.
inspiring, that energy. You can feel it now, no?
Yeah.
um and then I'm gonna say it. You wrote a book. She wrote a book. She posted about it, and yeah, there you go. And I was like,
I
boom.
love it. I
Oh
love it.
no, we have a rebel, right?
Yeah.
And I instantly bought the book, and yeah, I think, and then I tagged her on your post because
Yeah.
someone had tagged me, and here we are now. But I'm
No,
sure,
and
yeah,
then
go ahead.
yeah, and then what happened is we started to chat, and I'm also here in Holland. I'm a mentor for younger girls
Okay.
to share how cool tech is and mathematics and all that kind of stuff, because early on in my career, when I had to decide when I went to college, what would be my major, I met a woman, and she was super passionate, and she studied, I don't think she studied mathematics, but something like in the beta science or whatever. And that gave me the courage to just go for it. So for me, that woman, she has no clue that she had such an impact on my life.
Yeah.
And I hope to at least one person in this world, one little girl or boy, to inspire, like, okay, just go out there and choose what you want. Maybe it's against the stream. Maybe everybody is telling you you're not going to make it. But if you feel like it, just go for it. Um, and so what happened is, when I published the book, and Zineb and I started to chat, we saw your post, and then I reached out to Zineb and I said, "My God, look at the traction of your post. Look at, this is a topic that there's something there, right? We need to scale this, or we need to do something with this." And then I said, "Hey, shall we do something?" And then this
Yeah.
all started.
Well, and that was, I've said this so many times that like, and I'm still honestly like, I'm still overwhelmed by the response that I received. What I, what I thought was, well, and it started because it wasn't long ago that I was on LinkedIn and I had no clue about, I knew that there was medicine and engineering and you have architecture, so the mainstream careers, but there's so many others out there. There's sales and marketing, recruiting, consulting, and then there's so many women that are CEOs and founders of companies. And I thought, as an educator, beyond like getting my students to become better readers and writers, the technical part of it, here is a real opportunity to impact them in real life, which I think it goes to the heart of an educator or a teacher, is really wanting to make meaningful impact that will help them in life. And and it was kind of that aha moment. So I made the post and put it up there, and I kind of went about my day. And then when I got back on LinkedIn, I was like, oh my God. So, and I thought, and it was very overwhelming just trying to, there were so many, and I was like, I almost felt bad that I was having to tell people like, hey, let me get back with you because my calendar is,
Yeah.
my calendar is packed. And so I had to somewhat, I had to look at, okay, like I'm working, I'm teaching full time. I have an internship, I have a family too. And I want to do the interview. So I had to kind of like, you know, um, pace myself a little bit because
Yeah.
it's been so overwhelming. But again, this was so important to me, and as I've been showing the videos to my students, like I have three girls now that want to go into recruiting. There's a half a dozen that want to go into sales. There's a few that have been inspired by the social media marketers, and then there are a few others that they have seen, so many women founders that they see success in themselves, because they can and so the impact has been fantastic. And even the boys too, because they were like, I didn't even know that, they I talked to a wonderful woman, and she does recruiting for Microsoft, that focuses on like Web3 development and video game design. And like half the kids are like, I want to work in video games, and so it's been fantastic. And kind of where I'm debating on kind of where to take this next, is looking at possibly, like, as an example, marketing. And there's so many different areas of marketing, and so you could have 4 to 5 people come on at the same time in different areas of marketing, and you almost can give a holistic picture of marketing itself. That'll
Yeah.
take a little bit more creativity on the scheduling, but that's kind of that where I'm debating. It's kind of that, where do I take this to the next level? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and what I also see is that this world is like in transformation, right? And so I have like 20 years corporate experience where you have the job roles.
yeah,
Um, um, but I think what we're heading towards is I don't have one job right now. I'm an author because I wrote a book. I'm on stage and I speak. I have different clients where I work on site,
yeah.
but I'm also a teacher for different kind of business schools. So it's not one thing I do, and I think more and more people, and I think Zineb, you also have like 2 companies. You do a lot of things on the side. I
Hmm.
think we're moving towards a world where you're like, okay, I like this, this, and this. I'm going to create my own, like, I'd say, day to day business with the things that I like, which is not one thing.
Right.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, and then you have, some that are working a full-time job that start something on the side. It's very small. They validate it, it grows and grows, and who knows, maybe it's their next job, right? Or not. So
Well,
yeah, definitely it's more malleable. It's not as, this is a box, you choose one of these boxes and you have to fit in these boxes. So
yeah,
and I think that's, as we are, like these stories here, both of you own, you have your own companies, you are an author, and so you have, you're speaking on a public stage, especially in what is like a male dominated field. And so what will happen is, like, my students and the young ladies, and they will go, I can do that too, and that will become more common. And as you mentioned, I have 3 daughters, so I've always been like, a fan of fan of girls. But like, my sons have watched me really, you know, push my daughters to do their absolute best and not back down. They are, allies of, women being success, and like, how can I help? What can I do to help you? And so I think that becomes important too, because it gets us closer to equality.
yeah, yeah. So what I do is I try to help as much people around me as possible, and as particularly women.
Yeah.
I so when I was in corporate, I also experienced the opposite, where women are like, oh, "Okay, get away from me because you're competition," and I really dislike that. So I try to do whatever I can to help people um, forward,
Yeah.
because I think we need that. Yeah,
Yeah, I think speaking of helping others, especially when you're working, you're a one woman show or a one man show, right? You can help, you can mentor, in different communities. You can volunteer at schools. You can help, but also I think social media, like, I'm just going to focus on LinkedIn because if I'm online, I'm probably on LinkedIn, right? There has been a great shift from LinkedIn as a place where I find work, or I go back to it when I need to find a job. It's a place where you can learn, connect, build relationship, get help, find your next clients, find your next job.
Hmm.
Did I mention connect? So build relationships, right? This is it. So this whole idea of you sharing everything that you learn, you're already helping more people. Um,
Well, and I think you're absolutely right, because like if you go to LinkedIn, especially LinkedIn, and you start scrolling, there are so many professionals out there, and those that have all this experience, and you have men and women both, and they're just like there's thought provoking post after thought provoking post. People that are like, hey, if I wanted to get into sales, I would do this. If I wanted to, you have like these calls to action happening. And so yeah, it's I like the direction that LinkedIn is heading. And honestly, um, I'm one of the things I'd really like to work on in the next couple of weeks after we get through our benchmarks is getting my students to make accounts on LinkedIn so that they can start. Whether I create like a private group to where all the people I've connected with, and it can provide like a virtual mentorship, and they can ask questions directly. So yeah, you're right. There's something here, and I want to, I want to, and thankfully, it's been so many of you that have made this possible because you are willing to give back, and I think I love it, absolutely love it.
yeah. No, and so as I told my personal story, right? If that woman didn't come, how do you say that, cross my path,
Yes.
I maybe would have studied the Dutch language or something, because I was thinking about that. Can you imagine Dutch language? So no, so I know you can have like a big impact. Um, and if every woman can change one girl,
Right.
see the impact of that.
Yes. I love it. um So we need to connect again. I've got a class that's about to walk in, but I feel like there's so much more to unpack. And so I would love to reconnect with both of you very,
awesome.
very soon, whether it's this weekend or next week, or I have spring break coming up the week after that to where I have a lot of time open. So I would love, love, love to, and maybe we could even go live on LinkedIn and we can get questions directly from the viewers.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
just send
that would
me,
be
yeah,
cool.
send us the link, or your link, so
Okay.
we can book it. And absolutely would love to. Love what you're
Okay.
Yeah,
doing, Joshua.
Well,
Thank
yeah,
I
and
you.
just
then
want to say I love both of you from the bottom of my heart. And thank you so much. And I'll connect with you very, very soon.
yeah, and
Awesome.
and thank you for starting this movement, right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All
You
right.
guys
Thank
have
Bye,
you
a
for being
Simona.
with us.
good day.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.